All right, here we go. Looking at factoring. With the factoring, you look at your last sign. So because this is negative, the only way I can get a negative number with multiplication is one of them has to be positive and the other one has to be negative. That's the only way I can get a negative number. So now I look at 30 and I try to factor 30. So 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. So which of those numbers will go into the 30 and also give me a middle number of 13? Because the last sign is minus, that's telling me I'm subtracting the numbers. And most of you probably would have said 3 and 10, but actually the answer is 2 and 15 to give me the 13 because I have to subtract the numbers. So because this is positive, that tells me the larger number is going to be positive and the smaller number is going to be negative. So x plus 15 and x minus 2. Because this is negative, the only way I can get a negative number, one is positive and the other one is negative. 24, so 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, 4 and 6, 5 doesn't work, and 6 I'm starting to repeat. So again, look for your factors because this is negative. That's telling me I'm subtracting, and the larger number is going to be negative. So I'm looking for 5. Which two numbers give me 5, 8, and 3? And the larger number is going to be negative, and the 3 is going to be positive. Next number, negative again on the end sign. So 1 is positive, 1 is negative. 36, 1 and 36, 2 goes in there 18 times, 3 goes in there 12 times, 4 goes in there 9 times, and 6 and 6 I start to repeat. So x and x, you have a calculator, so you can use the calculator to go through these. Once again, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 until they start to repeat. So negative tells me I'm going to subtract them. What two numbers, when I subtract them, give me 5. And it looks like 4 and 9. And because this is positive, then that tells me the 9 is going to be positive and the 4 is going to be negative. Another negative number. So 20, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 3 doesn't go, 4 and 5, and 5 and 4. So now I start to repeat. Because this is negative, one is positive, the other one's negative. And what two numbers subtracted give me 8, so 2 and 10. And because this is negative, that tells me the 10 is negative, and the 2 is positive because the larger number will get this sign. Next one. Positive on the end. So because it's positive on the end, that tells me I need to look in the middle. They're either both positive or they're both negative. Because this is positive, it tells me they're both positive. And 16. So 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 3 won't go, 4 and 4. What two numbers added together would give me 10. So a plus 2 and a plus 8. And again, I get a positive number on the end, 44. And because this is positive and this is positive, tells me they're both positive. If it was negative, then they would both be negative if the middle sign was negative. So 1 and 44, 2 and 22, 3 won't go, 4 and 11, and 11 and 4. All right, so what two numbers will give me 15? 4 and 11. So 4 and 11. Now, I made a mistake on these. If you take a look, these two all have a 2 in common. 2 goes in this, 2 goes into this, 2 goes in this. So I need to factor out a 2 and then have x squared plus 4x minus 12. And the same thing on this one. Factor out a 2, and then this one didn't work if I remember right. So cross that one off. Okay, so then this is going to be 2 out front. And because this is negative, one's positive, one's negative. And 12. So 1 and 2, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Which two numbers will give me 4? When I subtract them, 6 and 2. Because the plus sign, so the 6 is going to be positive and the 2 is going to be negative. All right, then this one didn't work. All right, now in this one, you notice you have a 3 out front of the x squared. So you got to use a different rule a little bit. So this is still going to be the same. This is going to be, because this is positive and you look in the middle, you know they're both positive. And you're going to put a 3x here and you're going to put a 3x here, whatever this is. And then you're going to take 2 times 3, which gives you 6. So you find the factors of 6, 1 and 6, 2 and 3. So which two numbers multiplied together give you 7? When you add them, because it's a plus sign on the end, so 1 and 6. And now you look to see if these numbers have something in common. So the first one is still going to be the same, 3x plus 1. But these have a 3 in common, so you divide them by 3. So you end up with x plus 2. And notice when you multiply the last numbers, you get 2. When you add 3 plus 6, 1 plus 6, you get 7. And the first numbers give me 3x squared. All right, next one. Plus on the end, so they're either both plus or both minus. I look in the middle and see that they're going to both be minus. And I put a 7x out front and a 7x out front. And then I take 2 times 7, which is 14. 1 and 14, 2 and 7. So what two numbers added together will give me 9. So minus 2 and a minus 7. The first one's going to stay the same, 7x minus 2, because they don't have anything in common. But the second one, you can divide both of them by 7, so you get x minus 1. Next one, positive on the end, so that tells me I'm going to add them. And also I look in the middle, and it tells me both of them are positive. So I put a 5x out front. I multiply the first and the last number and get 30. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 4 won't go, 5 and 6, then 6 and 5, which two added together will give me 11. So 5 and 6. They have a 5 in common, so x plus 1 and 5x plus 6, excuse me. So there we go. And then the last one, last sign is negative. So 1 is plus, 1 is minus. I put a 5x out front. I multiply this times this and get 5. So 1 and 5. When I subtract them, I get 4. The larger number is negative. So the 5 is going to be negative, and the 1 is going to be positive. So 5x plus 1 and